The Early Grades Reading Assessment, EGRA, is targeting students who recently entered Grade 2 in the Grenada Public Primary School system. The assessment, which is aimed at addressing issues in literacy at an early age, began in 2015 with a sample of schools but was extended to include all public primary schools in 2019. Consultant for the Early Grade Reading Assessment Training and Administration 2024 is Dr. Michelle George. Dr. George says the focus of the training is to make sure that the educators conducting the assessment fully understand how to use EGRA, which will reflect the data collected that will then inform recommendations to the Ministry of Education. She explains the 5 components of the EGRA tool.
The tool really consists of 5 or so components that we're looking at. We're looking at the letter naming aspect of it, that the child has to identify or name the letters that they see on a particular chart that we provide them. We have the sound fluency, and the child now has to say, how does that letter sound that we give them? And note that the child has 1 minute, 60 seconds to be able to complete each task that they're assigned. So it is timed. It is a timed assessment, except for, of course, the reading comprehension aspect of it. Then the third component that we have for the assessment is a non-word. These are words that are not true or real words, that, as we say, some persons refer to it as nonsense words, right? And the child now has to use that decoding skills to be able to pronounce the word that they're seeing here that may not make sense to them in normal reading context. Thereafter, we're definitely not tricking them, but we're trying to get them to decode and to break that word apart, and then to be able to, so it's a strategy that they can use when they're reading. Thereafter, they have to read the oral reading comprehension. Again, they have a passage that is approximately 60 words in length, and the child has to read that. Thereafter, they're asked 5 questions on the passage that they have read.
Dr. George notes one recommendation from the past has been to work with the students on a one-to-one basis who have problems with reading.
Well, we have recommended various interventions. We have recommended, one of the things that I think is that we have to go away from the whole class sort of reading, that choral sort of reading that we have in the schools that are happening. We have to really pull out students who we think are struggling, because we're seeing the data. The data will show you exactly where the students are struggling. And once we're able to identify that, it's important as a school that you pull out the students, you see your weak areas, and then you put a program together as a staff, maybe the senior management or the literacy development team, whatever it may take, you put that team together so that they can come up with some sort of measure to help that child. So if, for instance, a child is struggling with the letter sounds, then you may have to do an entire program in the school on naming the sounds of letters, right? If it is just a comprehension problem, it may just be that the children are able to read in your entire school. However, they're not able to understand as much the reading. So the fluency rate is okay, but the comprehension of what they have read, that could be an issue as well. So whatever the issue is, it's important that they sit as a staff and have a discussion about the data that they're seeing, where the weaknesses are, where the strengths are, and then you can work on the strengths of the weaknesses that you're seeing, the deficiencies that you're seeing within the system.
Chief Executive Officer of GND Schools Incorporated, Andrea Phillip, says it is important to expose children to reading and other building blocks of literacy at a very early age so that the issues that are now showing up in the secondary schools can be addressed promptly.
Everybody made a big stir when this was flagged by CXC, Caribbean Examinations Council, when they gave their island reports. But for us who have been in the trenches, so to speak, and have been working with children and teachers particularly in the area of literacy and language development, we understand it doesn't start at the secondary level. We understand that the instruction, number one, the instruction in reading, pure instruction in reading, has to begin even at the preschool level, at the home. Exposure to books and appreciation for print, and whether or not it is on a device or whether it is on hard copy, that's where it starts. And I think that as a long-time official, as a long-term official of the Ministry of Education, I can tell you that we've always understood that. I think what is perhaps often not there is the financing to ensure that we can implement some of the strategies and the best practices that we know this is the way to go. So I think our partnership with government assists in this area, and in that we have a very clear mandate, and that is collaboration, cooperation, so that the children can rise. We target teachers, so we believe very strongly, as most people around the world do, people who are in this area of endeavor, we target teachers because we understand that if we get our teachers up to a certain standard, quality standard, in terms of their own ability to assess and to determine the pathways for children in learning, then we can move forward.
The EGRA assessment resumed last year after a break during the COVID-19 pandemic period. This year, Carriacou and Petite Martinique will not be participating in the assessment due to conditions resulting from the passage of Hurricane Beryl in July. The Ministry of Education and GND Schools Incorporated have a memorandum of understanding which allows for collaboration in education. The training took place on October 28th and 29th at the Grenada Youth Centre in Morne Rouge, St. George. Sorana Mitchell reporting.